How can you be a great solicitor after you pass the SQE exam? Well, you're going to need to be a great solicitor because it's a tough market, expectations are very high. You're going to need to be the best or among the best. So how can you do that in your own way? Well, that's what we're going to explore in this video. I'm going to share my screen, just doing this live. Now, this is a key one. I heard a fantastic saying once, which was that people don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. And that resonated very deeply with me. And have a think about it for a moment. Have you had an exchange with a professional, or even just talking about friends and family? Can you quote one thing that they've said over the years? One thing. You may be surprised at how, even with friends or people who are close to you, but definitely for professionals, maybe you've had an exchange with, you had a great meeting, but when challenged, well, can you quote one thing, exactly what they said, just one sentence? You can't remember anything. You can't remember a single thing as a quote that they said. You might be able to give a summary of it and so on, but you wouldn't be able to quote them. And this goes back to it, right? People don't remember what you said. People remember how you made them feel. And if you've had a great feeling after having a meeting with someone, if you've had a great feeling, then you know that feeling will stay with you. You will remember that for a very, very long time. Now, of course, when dealing with lawyers, this is about the substance, right? The legal advice. Of course, you have to get that right. The advice has to be right, no doubt. That's just a given. The advice has to be correct, and you have to do a good job. But you can do a fantastic job. You can get everything accurate, but still, when they walk away having used your service, they don't have a good feeling. And in the medical profession, they call that, the bedside manner and so on. I think that diminishes it significantly. But definitely a similar consideration is true of lawyers. And what's that about? Well, that's just about general people skills. It's partly about sales skills. If you haven't read How to Make Friends and Influence People, then you should definitely read that book. And that's kind of foundational. You can meet very, very senior judges and QCs and solicitors who have really mastered their art, mastered their discipline, but they still haven't mastered the people side of it. And that's really about listening to people and praising them where appropriate, and giving someone a sensation that, through listening to them and through caring about the situation, that you do care and that you're on a team and a project together. You're on this journey together, and you're going to try and make a success of it, or make the best of it for them. So that's the first general principle. The next one is organization. Now, part of that is really an extension of what I've just said about how do you make someone feel good, if you like. Well, part of it is about turning up on time, just the absolute basics. Turning up to meetings, perhaps not just on time, but even early, but doing it consistently, showing that you respect them. One of the ways you can show you respect someone is by turning up on time for a meeting, being very, very punctual. And I never cease to be surprised by how lawyers miss this point. They're busy, sorry, a previous meeting was held up. And that's why they're 5, 10, 15 minutes late for their client meeting. Well, from a client's point of view, they really want you to be caring about their situation, not someone else's situation. Fine, you've got a busy practice and so on. But you need to organize yourself so you've got sufficient buffers between your meetings so that you're turning up on time and showing clients respect to that extent. Then there's the follow-ups. Now, I've developed a very unique approach to this, which people absolutely love, which is I action things immediately on the spot. What that means is that clients do not have to wait for a follow-up note from me Rather, I draft the note with them while we're on the call and while I'm on the screen share. And what I do is that in terms of my advice and my view, what I do is summarize it to them and then type it out live. So to make sure that's clear, are there any follow-up questions? And what that means is that for me, the follow-up is done immediately, and they can ask questions in response to it. Also, a sort of a pro tip, if you like, with all of these things, right? They're simple. It's so simple that they sound very easy, but you need to actually implement them. But it really works, is that I never finish a meeting until my client is completely satisfied and they've answered all questions. Only when I ask the client, do you have any questions left? Is there anything else you'd like to cover? And they say, no, thank you, that's everything. Only at that point do I complete the call. And what that means is that the client is completely satisfied, and the follow-up is done. Now, this may seem like a small point, but it's a huge point. Almost all lawyers say, okay, I'll send over a note, and there's some kind of issue in connection with the note. Just switch off my screen share now. So either the note doesn't come in the required time. It was said, the lawyer said they'd send it within 24 hours, but then there was a court commitment and they don't send it. They end up sending it a few days later or a week later. The client feels let down, or the note doesn't come across at all, or the note comes across, but it doesn't accurately, at least from the client's point of view, they don't feel that it accurately presents what was discussed, or it comes across and it requires another call, and that may be not a chargeable event, if you like. It may be an extension of the original call, that at least the client feels that it's an extension of the original call, and therefore they shouldn't have to pay. It's something the lawyer should have clarified in the initial call. So this business of the follow-ups and the follow-up note is so important. The other thing is that the client often hasn't seen the note. Unlike with my approach, they haven't seen the note before, and when they see it all set out like that in unambiguous terms, what the advice is, then it triggers further questions which have not been answered. Then but they haven't been answered on the original call, right? Necessarily, and so that instills in the client a sense of dissatisfaction, that there's still questions unanswered. Whereas with my approach, everything is done on the screen share live. Now, there's an extension of that, right? Which is how, you can't do, isn't it tedious to just do a live note and type things up? Well, this is where another skill comes in, which is invaluable. I would say one of the most invaluable legal skills that I've learned as a lawyer is touch typing. Touch typing is a really undervalued, under-recognized skill. When I'm talking about touch typing, I'm talking about real touch typing. Okay, very, very, very fast and instantly, without thinking about it, and of course without looking at the keyboard. If you're able to touch type, then you can do things like this. You can do your notes with your clients live and save yourself a lot of time and money, get much better feedback. There's so many benefits that arise from being able to touch type. As simple and modest, humble a skill as it is, it's extremely important. In fact, it's one of the skills that I'm teaching my daughter at the moment, even though she's only in primary school. Touch typing is a critical life skill. As a lawyer, it's absolutely essential. Now, when I was a trainee lawyer, I couldn't believe that I was seeing QCs and senior lawyers and senior solicitors typing with two fingers. And it's almost like a disability, like it. And almost a debilitating disability in some scenarios, not being able to touch type, say, a judge's judgment. And one of the ways that I did a great job as a trainee, and how I helped my career a lot, is that I was known as the one who could just type something live. And what I meant is that my attendance notes were verbatim accurate. I got a verbatim transcript that I typed of what the client said in a conference or of what the judge said in a judgment, verbatim. And I had, in those days, the smallest laptop that you could get was the IBM ThinkPad, and I had that, and I touch typed everything on that. Now with the Apple and M2 Pro model as well, then wow, you can carry around just a brilliant device, and that would be very useful. So sometimes being a great lawyer and great solicitor isn't about the legal skills. It's about people skills, and it's about skills like touch typing, ancillary skills, which will take you to the next level. So do have a think about what you're doing after the SQE exam. It's not good enough just to qualify as a solicitor. You need to really make a success of it and be a great lawyer. We have a course that you'll be able to sign up for on our platform shortly on how to actually make a success of your practice once you qualify as a lawyer, whether you're working in-house or whether you're looking to be a sole practitioner or work in private practice. So do check that out, and I'll say bye for now.